Hi, this is Reini from Stormbringer magazine. We're here at the Helion Festival in Munich with Henry from Dethroned. First question, Henry, how are you doing, man?
Good. I'm having a beer. And I had a great show.
Yeah, it was a great show.
So I'm doing all right.
But today we don't talk about touring, we don't talk about lineups, we don't talk about old records. We concentrate today under the sign of the Iron Cross, the new Dethroned album. We'll see the light on 19th of November on Metal Blade Records. It looks like that, especially the last two albums, you discovered the concept stories for your records. Some people could get the impression that it's nowadays easier for you to write a lyrics or a text or in a concept story. Is it so?
Yeah, you could say that, but it's not true. I mean, I always wanted to do a concept album, and I never knew what topic to use. I just didn't know. I was a big fan of King Diamond's Abigail. You know, I was like, wow.
Who is not?
Yeah, well, I guess everybody, but I liked it a lot. So I wanted to do a concept album, and I didn't know what to do. And then we had a guitar player from Belgium, Isaac de la Haye, and he lives in Yper. And Yper was one of the cities in the that was in the trench area of the First World War. So what you see is like loads of war cemeteries, war memorials, all kinds of stuff that will remind you of World War One. And also, when we went out in the weekends to go to a bar and have a beer, there would be loads of English people, Irish people, Scottish people sitting there, getting drunk, singing, you know, because they were all there to visit the graves of the relatives who died in World War One. That was so impressive. I thought, like, wow, I don't know shit about World War One. I want to know more about it. So we went to the museum, and that was also very impressive. So then I started doing research and stuff like that, and then I was like, this is going to be the topic for my first concept album.
It was Passchendaele.
It was Passchendaele. And then the critics and the reactions afterwards were so positive that I was like, this is something I'm going to do more. So, and now here, a year and a half later, we have Under the Sign of the Iron Cross. Second concept album about World War One, and there will be a third one as well, because I thought, like, let's make it a trilogy.
That was my next question. Could you imagine to make a trilogy out of this?
Yeah, I'm gonna, yeah.
So huge topic, so you can do 10 albums.
I could, because so much stuff happened in that war that nobody, well, not that many people know anything about, because it's for some kind of reason an unknown war. I guess it's because it's overshadowed by World War II. But World War II was basically a result of World War One. If you know the whole history behind it. If you don't know, you would think some crazy guy stood up and started the war. But there is, of course, a whole story behind it. I'm not going to say anything about good or bad. People should know history to understand it more. Is very important to know what went on. If you're interested in history and you want to know how things evolved over the years and stuff. So for me, it was that interesting that I decided to do concept albums. And there's not that many bands who do stuff about World War One.
Most of them wrote about World War II.
Yeah, because it's easy. You can grab all the material because it's all there. But it's not original anymore. And if you do some research, you can find a lot of information about World War One. But it's quite complicated.
One of the inspiration and information you got for Under the Sign of the Iron Cross was Ernst Jünger's book In Stahlgewittern. Yeah. Besides that, did you have other inquiry stuff for your lyrics?
Yeah, I used something from the Battle of Verdun, which...
Of course, the Red Baron.
The Red Baron. Also something about the Eastern Europe, the Schlieffen Plan, the German attack plan of World War One. Yeah, World War One is a war where technology became important because everybody was stuck in the trenches and nobody could win. So they tried to find all kinds of technical ways to win the war. So the Battle of Verdun was a battle that was predicted by long distance shelling. You know, just cannons far away from the city and just firing on the battlefield and on the city for I think 10 months in a row, lowering the ground 9 meters, and that's why the song is called "The Killing Is Faceless," because you're killing people but you don't see them. So, you know, that's something about the technology.
Technology.
The technology. I'm Dutch and I probably drank too much.
The artwork of the new record has so much content, and I think everyone could interpret it for themselves. Who has done the artwork, and how would you explain it?
It's done by Karl-Heinz Schulz. No, Karl-Heinz Schuster. Karl-Heinz Schuster. He works as a freelance artwork graphic guy. He did most of our insides of the booklets of many of our CDs in the past, but he never did the front cover. And then for Passchendaele, I asked him to do the front cover, and he came up with the album cover that you know as the Passchendaele artwork. I think it was amazing. So the most obvious thing to do was ask him again for Under the Sign of the Iron Cross, and he said yes. Of course, the title gives you a lot of limitations. Basically, you need an iron cross, and a
sign.
And a sign. And yeah, what he did, he took all kinds of pictures from World War I, and so I had like 12 to 14 designs, basically with the Iron Cross in the center, and then different backgrounds, soldiers marching from various countries, cities being bombed by the airplanes, and we chose for this cover because it represented our feeling the best. So you see a line of marching soldiers in the background and a big Iron Cross in front. Yeah, how more World War I can you get it? You know?
Let's talk about the songs on the new album. A lot of them are very fast and aggressive. I think it's not only the fastest, it's by far the most extreme record you've ever done so far. Especially Freestorm, Storm of Steel. I guess Storm of Steel you played today. Yeah. Killing Is Faceless. Also damn brutal. Why are you getting harder and harder from record to record, man?
Because I'm getting older. I'm trying to prove myself. No, you know, if you have a certain topic on the album, you try to write music that fits to the topic. The producer for Passchendaele told me when we were done recording the Passchendaele album, he said to me, "It's like this is like listening to a soundtrack of a war movie." So, goal achieved, you know. And then when I wrote Under the Sign of the Iron Cross, and you read the book Storm of Steel, in Stahlgewittern, it means Storm of Steel. It's unbelievable. The guy wrote a diary of being in the trenches for 4 years. If you count the amount of times that he nearly got killed, it's a miracle that he survived the war. And it's written in a very dry way, but it's so much aggression and stuff in that book that the music just had to fit, you know. And it's like it's killing. When you read the book from beginning to end, it's like killing, and dying, and grenades exploding and stuff like that. So the music had to be extreme, and I felt like doing an extreme album.
But of course, there are some of these, let's call them typical God Dethroned groove songs. If you look at Through Byzantine Hemisphere on Fields of Death and Desolation, you said you will do a trilogy. That means there will be a third album about World War I. How will God Dethroned stand in 3 or 4 years? Do you already have an idea in which direction you may break out in the future, or will you still keep like it is today?
Every album will be different than the one before. I mean, we will never make the same album twice, so it's very unlikely that we will make an album like Under the Sign of the Iron Cross. It may be even more extreme, or it may be a little bit less, more epic. Yeah, you know, I try to cover many aspects of the war, and so I don't know yet what I will do for the next album. It's a bit too early to ask me, but. Yeah, it will be different for sure. I mean, we made 9 albums now in total. Also, the first one, the Christland, was a pretty brutal and extreme album, but the band was on a much lower level back then, and also the production. But there's no album that sounds like the previous album. All the albums are different. We've done something new on every album because I just want to do something different. You know, my favorite band is Bolt Thrower, and they did a lot of the same stuff. And I love them for it. I'm glad they did that, but I can't do it myself. I just have to do different stuff.
But you did thumb things twice. Like on Passchendaele, there's also on the new album, at the end of the title track, you put in some clean vocals. Are they again from your friend, the wounded vocalist Marco van der Velde, or who did, as mentioned, some on Passchendaele?
Yeah.
Or was it maybe Henry Sadler who did the clean vocals?
No. I can do it live, but I don't do it on the album. There's two reasons for it. First of all, he's such a great singer. When I do it live, I can come close in a way, you know. I can do it in a way that people think it's acceptable. It doesn't sound out of tune and stuff like that. But his voice is so amazing. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I just give him the song. It's recorded with my vocals on it. I give him the lyrics. I say, okay, this is your spot. You have to sing there. And he will come up within 2 days with lyrics and a vocal line on that spot that I told him. And it will be like something that I didn't expect. He will come up with a vocal line that I thought, like, how can you come up with that in the middle of all the chaos and stuff like that? It's a big surprise also for me, and it's nice to have somebody working with me like that.
You ever thought about giving Marco maybe in the future a bigger spot on an album, or wouldn't that fit on a Got Dethroned album, too much clean vocals?
It wouldn't fit, because if you listen to the new album, the only spot where I thought it would fit was in the title track, and it's the only spot. And in the other songs, it wouldn't make sense. You would put somebody with a clean voice in a song where it doesn't belong. So what you're doing is you're ruining a song. You can't overdo stuff. You have to have the right songs for it.
You mentioned your producer. You did now the third album in a row at the Soundlodge Studios with Jörg Uken, and now it's surely the most powerful sound in your whole career, I guess we can say that. Will Jörg now become the Got Dethroned pure producer of all time, or do you maybe think about getting another direction in the future, trying new sound experiences, for instance, with a new guy?
I don't know. We went to Jörg for 3 times because he's so easy to work with. He lives close by. He's super professional. You know. On one hand, it would be a pity to go somewhere else. On the other hand, it might be a challenge to go someplace else. You know, I would like to go to Peter Tägtgren, for example, or Colin Richardson. But on the other hand, Jörg is getting much better every time. Every album is getting better and better and better. And I think the new album is the best sounding Got Dethroned album of all times. It's really heavy. It's very raw. Because in the studio you can have a very clean sound by accident, like, oh, you play and it's too nice and too clean, but this is raw. It's very heavy, very extreme, but it's also very bright, and you can hear everything. So it's perfect, and I don't see myself going to another guy when this guy is getting better all the time. If he would stay on the same level, I would choose to go somewhere else to improve the band. But he's improving the band. So I guess he will stick for at least one more album.
Henry, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for this raw, heavy, aggressive and extreme album. And hopefully we will see you next year on a tour.
Yeah, man.